because Schindler's factory was just outside the wartime Jewish ghetto. Jews had to walk to the factory first from the ghetto, then from the camp. And in a minute we're going to enter the boundaries of the ghetto, and on our right hand side in a couple of minutes there's going to be an original section of the ghetto wall, which is preserved and standing on the side of the street is as a monument. So as soon as we turn left now, that wall monument going to be on your right hand side, similar to the one you've seen inside the museum. Only in this case is going to be the original one. So we're turning left, and if you look to the right, so this is a section. This is the original section of the ghetto wall on your right hand side. Was actually behind that trees there, a bit on the right. We cannot see it from here now, especially there is a new constructions over here. The construction of that camp began in 1942, after Germans started to liquidate the ghettos in Poland. The ghetto in Warsaw, and here down in southern Poland, the ghetto in Tarnów, ghetto here in Krakow. And they were building two camps simultaneously. One camp for Polish prisoners, and the second camp for Jewish prisoners. And in 1943, as you remember, after visiting the Schindler's factory in 1943, in March, the ghetto in Krakow was liquidated, and then people who survived the ghetto, some of them were taken to death camps, and some of them were taken to the camp here to the right, the Plaszów labor and concentration camp. It wasn't a death camp, it was a camp without extermination facilities. There was no gas chambers, there was no crematoria, but the mass executions took place over here. And now the side of the camp is just a memory place, and we're gonna stop in front of the memorial, which was built, as far as I remember, in the 1960s. And the camp itself existed here until the end of 1944, beginning of 1945, because Krakow was liberated by Soviet Army, Red Army, in January 18th, 1945. So even the Governor General of Krakow, he left just one day before. So when the camp was liquidated, Germans were trying to delete all the traces of their crime. They also started to exhume the dead bodies of people who were shot dead and hanged, and they were cremating them. Not every body was found, so there's still like a lot of there are still a lot of mass graves there, for nobody really touches that place. And so in 1945, so when Russians came here, there was nothing left out of the camp. And as we told you, kind of the camp commandant Amon Gut was arrested, and his trial took place here in Krakow, and he was executed here in Krakow for the crimes against the humanity. There is actually his villa is still standing there. Unfortunately, we cannot go there by bus. The street is just too narrow. In the film, his villa is right above the camp, though he can shoot from the balcony of his villa straight into the camp. In fact, it was a bit further away, and there is a street which is called Heltmana Street, and this is just one of the houses standing there. And actually, when I was there a couple of months ago, the Amon Gut's house was for sale. you can buy it. So it's still standing there, but we're gonna see kind of that memorial, and if you climb the monument, you will see that's the side of the camp, which is just a bowl, like a rim around, and some kind of greenery inside. There is nothing but that. When Spielberg was making the movie, he reconstructed part of the camp in a quarry nearby, but this is just reconstruction. No original traces were left. So she died in 1993. I remember her very well.
Grandmother.
So my great-grandmother, I remember her very well. All her life she lived in Riga. When she was born, she was a citizen of Russian Empire. So she was born still in the Tsar's Russia. In 1918, 1920, she became the citizen of the First Republic of Latvia, so interwar period when Latvia for the first time became independent. She was a citizen of Latvia until 1940. In 1940, Latvia was annexed by USSR. So for 1 year, she was citizen of USSR. In 1941, Latvia was occupied by the Nazi Germany, so it became this kind of, they would call it Ostland. So she lived in these German-occupied territories until October 1944. In October 1944, Latvia was again sort of liberated, but again became part of USSR until 1991. In 1991, Latvia again became independent, and she died as a citizen of Latvia, of Second Republic. She lived all her life in one city, literally on the same street. She was citizen of a few countries without moving anywhere. So it's kind of quite normal here in this part of Europe. And the joke I told a couple of you, there is a joke about a village again somewhere in Central Eastern Europe, and so the soldiers again come to this village, and they come to this house of this peasant who is maybe Polish, and they tell him, listen, Janek, so like tomorrow there's going to be a border in your village, and apparently the border going to go through your house, just in the middle. So, but we are nice people, we're very kind soldiers. We are very kind soldiers. You have a right to choose in which country you would like to live. You can choose the right side of the house or the left side of the house. So one side of your house is going to be inside Russia, and the second part inside Poland. So which country are you choosing? And this man, this kind of Polish person who experienced so many things already, kind of thought for a couple of seconds, saying, well, I would like to live in Poland. So then the soldiers, why? You don't like Russian? No, I hate Russian winters. So this is kind of how the borders change. Even kind of me myself, I was born in 1976. So I was born a citizen of USSR. Usually, sometimes I say I was born in a country which no longer exists. And sometimes when I'm in a good sarcastic mood, and if I have to go to an official, like some kind of official departments where you have to answer the questions, and they fill in computer questionnaire, and sometimes this lady at the computer, she asked me the country of birth. When I'm in this sarcastic mood, I said USSR, and she started to scroll it down in her computer, looking like says Uganda, there is USA, but there is no USSR. I said, I don't know, I was born in USSR, I can show you the documents. And she said, but there is no such a country. I said, well, right, Latvia, so it's fine. So, but it's kind of, here it changes time after time. We have an old tradition of being born in one country, live in another, and died in a third, without moving anywhere. So, and now we are going to Novahuda. I know that Mark would like to tell a few words about Huta.
Yeah. I was telling Philip, well, even a few years ago, that when I think I was in high school, either Time Magazine or Newsweek put out an issue about it. I talked about the factories, the pollution, what a disaster it was for Krakow, and it was just how the apartments were Soviet style and everything. And I envisioned just the worst slum imaginable. Workers living in cramped conditions, working long hours, terrible plumbing, terrible heating and everything. So that I was subject to I know it's probably, my dad would yell at me for saying such a thing, but subject to American propaganda. And believed it. I thought, oh my God, that's awful. So when I first came to Krakow, I wanted to go see Nova Huta. And yes, it had the factories, which were terrible. The communists were not, there was no Green Party in Poland or the Soviet Union. If they were illegal. They weren't very pro-environmental. But in terms of living conditions, they built it very well, and we'll see it, and Philip will describe it for us when we get there. You'll be surprised about some aspects of it, I believe. So you may remember when time did that.
The sun, and it's kind of the rising sun, and
This is the main square of
it's
Nova Huta.
where the old life of Nova Huta was going on around.
Ronald Reagan
Yeah, if you
Square.
look down to the right, you see the corner of the building. It's written Plac Centralny Ronalda Reagana. There, to the right. And that street which goes to the right and to the left, this is John Paul II Avenue. And here to the right, you see this letter V. This is a Solidarity monument.